Symmetrical tread. The most common tread pattern on the road belongs to a design so consistent it can be mounted any direction and rotated any way without changing how it performs. Every rib and block mirrors its counterpart across the center line, creating a uniform footprint that spreads wear evenly from edge to edge. That predictability is the whole point. Symmetrical tires are quiet, long-lasting, and easy to maintain. A good set can exceed 60,000 miles of normal driving. The trade-off is specialization. They're made for moderate conditions, which means dry roads and mild rain, not heavy standing water or packed snow. Most passenger sedans and commuter vehicles roll out of the factory on symmetrical tires for exactly this reason. Drivers don't need peak wet weather performance or aggressive cornering. They need something dependable and affordable that lasts. Symmetrical Tread delivers on all three without asking anything complicated in return. Directional Tread. Flip a directional tire around and it stops working as intended. The V-shaped channels that define its surface are engineered to funnel water in one specific direction, outward from the center, and that only functions if the tire is rotating the right way. The arrowhead pattern is unmistakable, and manufacturers mark the sidewall with an arrow to confirm correct mounting. What that geometry accomplishes is impressive. At highway speeds, a directional tire actively pumps water away from the contact patch, significantly reducing the risk of hydroplaning. The design also produces a stable, planted feel on wet roads that symmetrical tires can't match. Performance cars and all-season tires intended for wetter climates frequently use this pattern. The limitation is that rotation is restricted. You can swap front to back on the same side, but crossing sides is off the table unless you also dismount and remount the tire itself. Most drivers accept that constraint without complaint. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, hit like and subscribe. More of this coming. Asymmetrical tread. A tire that does two different jobs simultaneously, asymmetrical tread, splits the surface into two zones that don't resemble each other at all. The inner portion is laced with channels and grooves designed to displace water quickly. The outer portion uses large, stiff tread blocks that dig into dry pavement and hold their shape through hard cornering, stamped clearly on the sidewall. Outside on one side, inside on the other. Get it backwards, and you've negated the entire design. The result, when mounted correctly, is a tire that performs competently in wet conditions while still offering the kind of dry road grip and stability that drivers of sports cars and high-performance sedans expect. It can be rotated front to back, which extends tread life. The outer shoulder blocks do carry more load during cornering, so they tend to wear faster than the inner section, an asymmetrical tire's one genuine compromise. All-season tread. The term all-season is more accurate than it might sound, and slightly less comprehensive than it implies. These tires are engineered for year-round use in temperate climates, dry summer roads, wet autumn conditions, and light winter snow. The tread typically combines elements of directional and symmetrical designs with circumferential grooves for water drainage, siping across the tread blocks for additional biting edges, and a rubber compound that stays flexible across a broader temperature range than a pure summer tire. The result is a capable, predictable tire that handles most everyday conditions without ever being the best choice for any single one. In deep snow or sustained sub-zero temperatures, all seasons lose ground to dedicated winter tires. In peak heat cornering performance, summer tires pull ahead. The compromise is the product. For drivers who don't want to swap tires twice a year and who live somewhere that doesn't push to either extreme, all-season tread is a well-engineered solution to a practical problem. Summer/performance tread. Fewer grooves, larger blocks, and a compound formulated to stay sticky in heat. Summer tires make no apologies for their single-mindedness. The tread pattern is deliberately minimal compared to an all-season because every void in the surface is rubber that isn't touching the road. More rubber contact means more friction, and more friction means shorter braking distances and higher cornering limits. The compound used in summer tires hardens significantly below about 7 degrees Celsius, which is exactly why they shouldn't be used in cold weather. The grip advantage disappears, and the tire becomes brittle. Above that threshold, the performance gap is measurable. Many high-performance and sports car manufacturers specify summer tires as factory fitment, and the tread patterns are often asymmetrical to balance wet and dry behavior. For anyone who drives enthusiastically on dry roads and can store a second set for winter, summer tires are the most honest expression of what a road tire can do. Winter tread. Cold weather doesn't just change road conditions, it changes the behavior of rubber itself, and winter tires are built around that fact. The compound stays pliable well below freezing, which keeps the tire in contact with the road instead of skating over it. But the compound is only part of it. Winter tread is densely siped. Those fine slits cut across every tread block, creating hundreds of additional edges that bite into packed snow and ice. Wide grooves between the blocks channel slush and loose snow away from the contact patch, preventing the tire from floating on debris. The difference over all-season tires in genuine winter conditions is not marginal. Stopping distances on snow can improve by 30 to 40% with dedicated winter tires fitted. Most countries with significant winter conditions, Canada, Scandinavia, Germany, either require or strongly regulate their use during the colder months. The trade-off is that the same soft compound that excels in winter wears quickly on warm summer roads, which is why two-tire set ownership is the norm for drivers who take them seriously. Highway terrain. A highway terrain tire is the answer to a specific question. What does an SUV or light truck need if it lives almost entirely on paved roads? The answer is essentially a scaled-up passenger tire with a tread pattern that prioritizes low noise, long wear, and composed highway handling. H/T tires use tighter tread blocks and shallower grooves than their all-terrain counterparts, which reduces the air turbulence that makes aggressive tires loud on the motorway. The compound is firmer, optimized for longevity and fuel efficiency rather than off-road traction. Many original equipment fitments on SUVs and pickup trucks are H/T tires because manufacturers know that most buyers will never leave the pavement. Where H/T tires show their limits is off-road. Soft soil, loose gravel, and particularly mud will quickly overwhelm a tread pattern designed for asphalt. But on the road, they ride quietly, wear slowly, and return the kind of comfort that daily driving actually demands. All-terrain tread. A/T tires wear two hats, capable off-road, still reasonable on the highway, and the tread pattern reflects that compromise in every detail. The blocks are larger and more widely spaced than a highway tire, creating voids that can channel out mud, gravel, and loose soil. The sidewall edges often carry extended lugs for extra grip when the road disappears. Premium A/T tires pack over 1,000 sipes per tire and use variable pitch sequencing. Tread blocks of slightly different sizes arranged to cancel harmonic road noise, bringing cabin sound levels to within a few decibels of a standard highway tire. Tread life on a quality all-terrain typically runs 45,000 to 65,000 miles. The genuine weakness is deep mud. The tighter void ratios that keep these tires highway-mannered also allow mud to pack into the tread, effectively turning the tire slick in the worst conditions. Serious mud work requires a different tool entirely. For overlanders, weekend trail drivers, and anyone who splits time between the interstate and the dirt road, A/T tread hits a capable middle ground. Mud terrain tread. Where all-terrain tires compromise for daily use, mud terrain tires don't. The tread blocks are wide, the voids between them aggressive, and the sidewall lugs extend far enough to bite into vertical surfaces, which matters more than it sounds when a vehicle is crawling up a rock face at low speed with the tires partially deflated. The self-cleaning design is the defining feature. As the tire rotates, those wide gaps fling mud outward rather than letting it pack in, preserving traction in conditions that would quickly overwhelm a tighter pattern. A softer compound than the typical all-terrain helps the tire conform to irregular rock surfaces, and at crawling pressures of 8 to 15 psi, the sidewall lugs can expand the effective contact patch substantially. The costs are real, M/T tires produce noticeably more cabin noise on the highway, return worse fuel economy, and wear faster on pavement than an AT. Mud terrain tires are built for a purpose, and that purpose is not the commute. Racing slick. No grooves, no siping, no water channels. A racing slick is designed around a single goal: maximum rubber contact with the road surface, and everything else is secondary. The compound is soft enough to generate enormous friction, heating up to operating temperature over the first few laps, and then gripping with a tenacity that street tires can't approach. Formula One slicks, all supplied by Pirelli, run in compounds from C1 to C5, with the hardest reserved for abrasive circuits and the softest for smooth tracks where peak grip justifies the rapid wear. A soft compound. F1 tire may last only 20 to 30 kilometers before the grip drops off sharply. When the track is wet, slicks come off immediately. Without grooves, there is no mechanism to displace water, and a slick on a wet surface produces almost no friction at all. Wet weather racing tires take over, with pronounced circumferential and lateral grooves that can shift around 30 liters of water per second at racing speeds. The slick is not a tire for any condition except the right one. In those conditions, nothing else comes close. Which of these tread types are on your car right now, and do you think they're the right ones for where you actually drive? Comment below, hit like, and subscribe. The algorithm already has your next one queued up. Just click.